Hey y'all, now that we have changed the header on our blog, we're going to move on to backgrounds. I've already showed you in the header tutorial how to change the background color if you're just going to utilize a solid color. I actually like using the solid color the best because it is most pleasing to the eye. Often patterns on the backgrounds will make it hard for people to read your text. It'll be distracting. But, there are a lot of great blogs out there with very nice backgrounds. It has to do more with you developing an artistic eye and what's pleasing to the eye. I cannot teach that, but I can teach you the techniques of making it for your blog. And so there are two main background types. The first one is to have a tile and have it repeat on your page. The second is to have one whole big image and have it as your page. Now, there are two reasons that the tiles are better than the whole image. First, you'll remember we discussed about file size and how long it takes your page to load. And so you can imagine that a tile, a small tile, and it can be even really small, takes much less time to load, and then the coding just tells it to repeat it on the page, than a file that is much larger and covers the entire background. It's really hard to get those whole page files to be small enough that your page loads quickly. I've been to some blogs, and even with my fast internet service, it takes a while to load. So I can imagine how long those take to load in slower internet services. The second reason is because of the screen resolution. If you use tiles, it's just going to repeat it until it fills up that person's screen, no matter how big or how small that screen is. If you have an image, if you can't get it to fit all screen sizes. It's either going to have some cut off, and the people just aren't going to know that it's out there, because if you do make these, you would want them to be so the stuff on the outer edge isn't necessary. If it gets cut off, it's no big deal. So they just wouldn't know what they were missing. Or you're going to have somebody with these really huge screens that it only goes so far, and then they've got blank area after that, and that's going to look just as funny. So even though it looks good on your screen, or even looks good on the majority of the screens, those fixed backgrounds are really difficult to get looking just right. But we're going to focus in this lesson on the ones that tile. And so I have here an image of some material that I took, and I'm going to use it to make a tile. Now I'm going to go through this really quickly because there are other lessons for making patterns, making tiled patterned papers, and so we're just going to do this really quickly. This is actually got a few tips in it that aren't in my other tutorials, but if you need more time on learning how to tile, you'll have to head over to those other tutorials. So I have this image here, and for this particular image, I'm going to duplicate it and save the first layer, making it invisible. I'm going to make a new layer. Now I'm going to get the selection tool, and I'm going to choose fixed size, and I've chosen 300 pixel by 300 pixel. Now you can choose whatever size you want. The sizing is going to make your background look either close up or further away. depending on its size. So you may want to play with a variety of sizes. So I'm going to click down, hit Alt Backspace to fill that. It doesn't matter what color it is because I'm just using this as, whoops, what did I do? I'm just using this as a template like you would in you know, a template for a layout. So I'm going to hit Control G, and now I'm going, because I've grouped it, and now I'm going to go ahead and make this smaller and rotate it. Now you know, I could have used this tool here, straightening tool, because the lines on my photo weren't straight up and down. I didn't take it very well, but I chose not to do that because I'm just going to turn this in as I'm trying to get this to fit just right in these in this block. Let's see, I kind of like those patterns, but now you can see that it's still, even though I made it straight, it's still not quite straight. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and actually skew this and make it a little wider. So I'm not going to do this in great detail because I've already done it and have a sample loaded to make this tutorial much shorter. But we'll go through it quickly. I'm going to hold down the Control key, click on the thumbnail to get a selection of that. Control C to copy. File, New, Image from Clipboard. So here I have my tile that I'm working with, but I have to make it seamless. So Filter, Other, Offset, and you'll remember I made that 300 pixels, and for this, for making seamless tiles, you cut that in half, which is 150. I'm going to click OK. Now we have to, it's seamless around the edges, but we have to fill in this inside, and of course I could use the clone tool as in my other tutorials, but for this purpose I'm going to use the spot healing brush, hold down my shift key to keep it a straight line, move it across, and I don't know if that helped it or not. It sure did help it going down, but not across. But may need to you know, make my brush larger. I'm not going to play with this. It worked really well the first time, but go back and review those other tutorials to see how to get these lines out of there. Oops, see, I'm not holding down the Control key. That just made a mess. So I'm not going to play with this anymore. I'm messing it up. But once you get it there, you're going to do Save for Web, and I actually did a Save for Web of this and changed the pixels down to 150 for mine. I think it's a little too big. You'll see on my example I might have wanted it even smaller, and I did save mine as a JPEG. And so I'm going to cancel out, and let's go back online. And I have here uploaded to Picasa the one that I made earlier, and you can see it looks a lot better. I'm going to right click on it, choose Properties, and highlight and grab this URL. Once it's highlighted, I press Control C. I'm going to go back to my Blogger, and here in the HTML mode, scroll down, and it's not too far down. You're going to see where it says Body, and then you're going to see where it says background color or color, and or just background and the color coding. You're going to delete that line and add this. I actually have 3 lines that I have added here, and I will copy this coding and put it in the forum for you to just copy and put into your template. But you see right here, I pasted the link from Picasa, into the code. And so I have where it says background-image URL, and then in parentheses I have the link to where my photo is hosted. The next line I put background repeat because I wanted to repeat. And the next one I had background position top left. I don't even know if that's necessary, but I have that in there. And once you hit save and you go out to your blog, let's go ahead and hit refresh. It's going to look like this. Well, now you can see the header that worked really well with my solid color background does not work very well with this at all. And another reason I do not like using patterns is because I cannot read the text. I cannot tell you how much I hate going to blogs that have this and you can't even read the text. They try to make it so you can read it, but you can't. So now you got to change your header again. Well, let's go back out here to my test blog. I want to show you what I did. I made a transparent PNG, .png, a ping, and I uploaded it to Picasa, and look what happened. It added that black behind it, and I was like, wait a minute, this is not transparent anymore. I really don't know if it's still transparent. It might work. I didn't even try. I went it straight to Flickr, and I uploaded it. Well, it looks funky here too. But check this out. When you click on all sizes, and I'm in my original size, I made this 750 by 150, it looks perfectly fine. So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to get this code they give me. Control C. We're going to go back to our blog, and did you know that when you have this little icon here when you're logged in, that's an edit icon, and I can edit this element right here. So I'm going to click on that, bring up my coding, Control V to paste my new coding in there, click save, and there it is. Now sometimes it'll come up and it'll disappear and you have to refresh it and then you'll see it again. So now I have a header that looks a little bit better because it's a ping and it's a transparent. The big deal with the ping now is I couldn't get that file size that small. Even though I use Save for Web, I couldn't really get it as small as I wanted it. But it looks good and uploads okay. But now you can see I have that border. So let's go back over here. Another way to get rid of that border that we talked about, first we made it the same color as the background, but of course in this instance we can't make it the same color because we have a pattern. So we're going to go down. There's always more than one way to fix things. And I'm going to look for that header section, and here it is. I have a header wrapper with a border, and I'm just going to make it 0 pixels wide. Here's another one. 0 pixels wide. Are there any borders in the header here? I don't want them. So let's see if that got rid of it. Save template. Let's hit refresh, and now the borders are gone. So that's a second way that you can get rid of borders, which is actually probably a better way than the first way. So any way you can make it work, it works. Now let's go in here and fix this. The only way to fix this really so you can see it is to put a solid color behind the blog posts and the sidebar. Now you can, even though I don't recommend it, but let's do it anyway, you can go in here and get a color from your background. And I'm making mine kind of a girly thing, so I'm gonna choose this color for now. Control C. Let's go back in here to the coding. I'm gonna move down, and the first section that we've been working on is the body, and then the second section is the header, and then as you go on down you're going to see the wrappers. Now this main wrapper is going to be the one where it's going to make it solid color behind the posts, and the sidebar one is where it's going to make it a solid color behind the sidebar. I'm going to just hit a space and type in background, colon, number, and paste that. Make sure you put that semicolon after there. I was having frustrations earlier. Could not figure out why this was not working. It's because I didn't have that semicolon right after that. Now, you are maybe getting your wheels thinking that you could upload an image, a repeating tile, and put the code in here linked to a host, just as we did for the background, and have different images showing up as your backgrounds for the posts and the wrappers. So as you learn this stuff, you can translate it and use it in different ways. But let's hit Save Template, go back over here, let's hope it works, and it does. So now I have this pink stuff here. Well, I tell you, the reason I don't like it is I can't read it. My eyes just don't like that very much. I could go, I mean, I really think that if you're going to make it easiest for people with all eyes to use, you can do whatever you want. But in my opinion, I mean, that makes for a, you know, pleasant looking blog, nice colors, and I could make my text all white, and that might be okay. But I tell you, I really suggest you use white. And I'm gonna save template, and there it is with white. And or, you know, maybe I could get an off-white. I don't know what an off-white color is gonna be looks like. I could choose this and then make it kind of move it over into an off-white. Let's try that. I'm just trying to show you some of these. That looks a little bit stark with that background, but I'm just trying to show you some of these variations so that you can get a blog that is pleasing to most people, and to see how quickly and easily it is to change these things and to just test them. Let's hit this. Well, that's a little bit better. I actually like that dark pink the way it looked. But then you would have to go back in here to your fonts and your colors and change some of these to you know, something darker, even a dark green. I don't know what colors it is. Well, I guess I could peek down here to see what I'm doing. There's still a link color here. There we go. You know, you just play around with it until you get something that's better, and then I go back on here and I can actually read it, and so that's not so bad. But still, I tend to like that white so I can read it. But I can read this. I think post title color needs to be something darker. I mean, there's a reason why books are printed in black and white. And so there you see, I've got my blog really changing here, and it looks a lot better. And we will see you around the next tutorial, where we're going to look at fixed backgrounds, and then after that we're going to look at some things, other things that you can add to your pages, and it will be a lot easier to learn. And so I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope it's been really helpful for you to learn.